I thought that starting a YouTube channel was the best way to make money online. But after nearly 30,000 subscribers, 2.1 million views, and over 2 years of hard work, I've made $15,000. So I decided I had to quit this journaling channel. It just wasn't profitable for me to keep doing it. But in the last 30 days, I'd made over $12,000 with an online business that I sort of accidentally discovered exists. So in this video, I want to show you why being a YouTuber probably isn't the best way to make money, despite what you might have been told, and how to actually use YouTube to make money instead. Okay, now to explain how I kind of got to this point, I want to share with you why I even bothered starting a YouTube channel in the first place. Because maybe this sounds familiar to you, but 4 years ago, I discovered this dude who was a doctor, who happened to study at Cambridge, and happened to make over $100,000 every single month from posting to YouTube. Now, that guy is Ali Abdaal. I'll be honest, hearing this story was bloody insane to me. Like, I was this 18-year-old kid earning minimum wage, still living at home with his parents, and there was this guy who'd literally achieved everything I could have possibly dreamt about. Now, I think it's important, like, I need to be clear, I am far from a rags to riches story you might have heard on the internet. Like, my parents ran their own business. My mum still drives a bloody Range Rover. But at the same time, right, like, this meant that I was financially dependent on my parents. So every time I would take a girl on a date, I would be using money that my mum gave me, and I was living at home. So I still had to live by my parents' rules. And I didn't really feel like I had any freedom to do what I wanted, when I wanted, and with who I wanted to. And honestly, like, being financially dependent like this on my parents at like 20, 21 years old made me feel super guilty, and it was a little bit embarrassing. So when I saw Ali's video about how to make money online, this gave me the kind of motivation I needed to make money, right? I wanted that financial independence and to feel like a man and an adult, right? And Ali's video made it seem like all I had to do was build a YouTube channel, sell a few courses to my audience, and that was how I was going to get rich, or at least financially dependent. And I figured at this point, like, if I could make $10,000 every single month online, I'd be set for life. And I thought I could do that on YouTube. So after 2 years of procrastinating, I finally decided to take Ali's advice, and I posted my first ever video on this channel a couple years ago, literally almost 2 years ago to this day. And this was that video. I mean, still kind of crazy looking back now and seeing how far I've come. But look, like 2 years ago, I figured that to make $10,000 a month with a YouTube channel would not be that hard. This is going to sound, oh my God, I'm going to sound like such a prick. But like, I looked at Ali and thought, his videos are good. They're decent. Don't get me wrong, but I could definitely do something similar. I think my videos could probably even be better. Geez, I was very wrong. Because after like half a year of posting a video every single week and getting like 20 views, 30 views, I think some videos got 40 views, nothing was working. And I was like, I'm going to give up. I'm never going to make money. I'm actually probably losing money making these videos. But then I came across like a new set of creators and new people that were giving me this advice of niche down. That's how you grow a channel. That's how you make money. You need to niche down. Just talk about one specific topic. And amazingly, this advice worked. I was like, what? But not in the way I'd hoped. Because almost by accident, I kind of realized that people were starting to watch my videos about journaling. Like freaking pen and paper journaling in 2025. Like, people cared. I mean, look, at first I was getting a couple of hundred views every time I posted a journaling video compared to the 40 I was getting before. But then one video out of nowhere hit a few thousand. And then I remember I had one that hit like 50,000. And let me tell you, I could not sleep that night. It was like I was high. I don't know how to explain it. I'd never experienced any emotion like that before. Now, I've not got high. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was crazy. And then a couple months after that, I don't know what happened, but 2 videos completely blew up and they had like 500,000 views each. So I went all in on that, right? Like, almost overnight, it felt like journaling became my niche. And every time I posted a video about journaling, it got 10,000, 20,000, 50,000, 100,000 views. It was crazy. But now I had a new problem, right? Because despite having built a pretty decent sized audience and getting hundreds of thousands of views, I'm still not making that $10,000 that I thought I would potentially achieve, right? Like my best ever month was in December 2024. And when you combine all the sponsorships, the ad revenues, like everything, I think I made just over $2,000. But this was despite working like 40 plus hours a week on my channel, doing everything from scripting, editing, filming B-roll. And at the same time, I was still trying to get a degree from my uni, right? Graduate Kings. And I wanted a first class degree. I didn't want to half-ass it. I wanted to do the best I could. So I had the YouTube channel, I had the degree. I also wanted to see my friends. I wanted to see my family. I was very close to getting burnt out, and I still wasn't making the money that I thought I would by that point. So I kind of figured there had to be a better way of making more money with this audience, with this channel that I had. So I did the next logical thing all these creators online were talking about. And they said, okay, you've niched down, you're getting the views. All you need to do now is launch your first digital product and then you'll be rich. And I thought, I can do this. I can do that. There's no problem. But here's what I never considered, right? Like, it is a heck of a lot different selling your own product to viewers that actually watch your channel compared to accepting money from YouTube or like big companies who are sponsoring you. Because you're like, oh crap, these are like real people. They're not a faceless organization. They're not a faceless corporation. So I knew that I was just gonna have to put everything I could into making this product as helpful as I possibly could to my audience, right? If I was gonna sell them something and ask them to give me money, I had to create something that was gonna be valuable, super valuable. But obviously, I didn't really have that much time, so I had to take a month off from posting on YouTube to build this product. And I think looking back, I probably spent over 100 hours building everything for my first ever digital product, which was a journaling workshop I was going to price at $97. It's like a course, basically. Now, if you've ever launched a digital product or a course or a program or anything like that before, you'll know there's so much work that goes into it, like behind the scenes. You've got to write all the sales emails. You've got to build a website, or you call it like a landing page to get people to buy. And then on top of that, you've got to film and plan and actually like publish the course. Then once you've done all of that, you've got to go back to YouTube, start making videos to market the product that you've made. So I was exhausted, right? Like this took me about a month. And then I launched it, it went well. And then a week later, when I came to check my bank account and see how much money I'd made, I saw 8 people had bought it. 8 people had bought my journaling course. And honestly, I felt like a bit of a failure, right? I felt like a bit of a failure, like I was doing something wrong. I thought I did everything right. You know, I built this huge audience, well, not huge audience, but I built a reasonably big audience, all about journaling, right? And then I launched a course, a product all about journaling, and nobody was really interested, right? Like I'd just taken this month off of YouTube and gone from making like $2,000 to 800. And then I was thinking like, oh, well, maybe it was a bad idea to build a product. I should have just doubled down. The channel was good. And now I've screwed everything up. Now at this point, I found out there was actually a different problem. A different problem that I kind of ran into that I didn't even know was a thing, right? But this problem made me worry that I'd wasted the last 12 months of building this audience. And I'd essentially just wasted the last year of my life on this project. When everybody out there was getting internships or getting a real job, I was there in my room making like silly little YouTube videos. And so what is the problem, Ollie? Well, here's what nobody told me about making money online. And it seems really obvious in hindsight. It's almost silly obvious. Like, just think about this, okay? How much would you realistically want to pay for a journaling course that helped you be more productive? I don't know, like $20, $50, $100, maybe $200 if your favorite influencer in the whole world had created it. But then, how much money would you pay for something that taught you how to build a business that would make you $10,000 a month, or would teach you how to get a six-pack without stopping eating chocolate? Like, obviously, you're going to pay a heck of a lot more for those two things than you would the journaling course. And it's kind of intuitive, right? It's actually a heck of a lot easier to make money online when you sell something that helps people either make more money, improve their health, or improve their relationships. And if you can actually help businesses with these problems, not individuals, then you make a lot of money. So my issue was, right, like my journaling workshop helped people with their productivity. Like it might have helped them a little bit with their money making or with their relationships or with their health, but it wasn't directly tied to one of these big three problems. So people didn't really have an urgent need to buy. Like I didn't wake up in the morning thinking, oh God, I really need to, like my life would be so much better if I just had a journaling system. But I do wake up in the morning thinking, oh my God, I want to make more money so I can take my granddad out on a holiday. Or it would be so nice if I can take my shirt off on the beach and have a six pack. Or it would be pretty awesome to have a girlfriend. Like, they're the things that I worry about. And if I didn't worry about having a journaling system to manage my life, how could I expect lots of other people to have that same problem too and want to spend money? I mean, it's one thing watching a video about journaling, and then it's another to invest money into a course or into like more support. I don't think it would have been impossible to make $10,000 a month with the journaling offer, or like any sort of hobby niche, like, I don't know, if you were into knitting or like a sport or something, but it's just like you're fighting an uphill battle, right? It's 1,000 times harder to make a lot of money teaching a hobby than it is one of those three core points. Now, look, there's going to be a few of you watching that are going to think, why is this guy so obsessed with money? That is so weird. And I get it. Like, I totally get it. But I want to be honest, like, because hopefully there's some of you that think the same. I want a big family. I want like 4 kids. I want a big house. I want holidays. I want to have a nice car, maybe a Porsche, and just to have the freedom to live my life however the heck I want to do. And and all of this stuff costs money. So that's my motivation. But in either case, here's what I discovered from this kind of failed launch. I guess you could say failed, right? Like eight sales from a pretty decent sized audience. Well, is that it doesn't really matter how hard you work on something, right? The main thing that matters is what vehicle, or I guess you say niche, you choose to work on. And this took me a while to understand. And I'll be honest, there was a part of me that did genuinely think I just wasted a year and a half of my life and I should just give up and stop with the channel. But right before I'm about to quit everything, I have a realization that has completely changed my life. And that realization has been responsible for making me all the money that I've made in the last 3 months. And so let me show you how that happened. I realized that all the time I was working 60 plus hours a week on my YouTube channel and building my first product, I was accidentally building a completely different set of skills. And these skills were way more valuable than the $800 that I'd made from selling the journaling course. What were they? Well, all those late nights I spent browsing YouTube and researching thumbnails, that was me learning psychology and what gets people to pay attention. When I was writing sales pages for the workshop and all the emails, as bad as that writing was, I was learning copywriting, right? How to, the art of writing words that convince people to take action. But the most important thing was that all that time, those 6 months, I was forcing myself to keep posting videos, even though I was getting like 15, 20 views. Well, that was teaching me discipline and delayed gratification. Now, look, I think it'd be really cool if I could sit here and say, like, it was my plan all along to build these skills. Yeah, the YouTube channel was just the vehicle to learn these skills. But the truth is, none of that was intentional. And it all led to this big realization a few months ago where I thought, if I want to make more money, if I want to reach that 10K goal and maybe even more, to support this big family that I want, why the heck am I trying so hard, to make this journaling audience work? And why am I trying so hard to build a journaling product when I've accidentally become pretty good at the exact skills other creators with businesses that are already profitable would value and hopefully need help with? So at the start of July this year, I wanted to kind of test this hypothesis that these creators would need or even want my help. I still had this kind of imposter syndrome going on. But instead of letting that voice stop me from taking action, I used that skill of perseverance that I'd learned. And I started small. So for the month of July, I sent over 100 personalized emails to creators on YouTube. And to my amazement, some of them actually replied and said they would potentially want my help. But in the early days, I wasn't super confident with selling my services on the internet. Like the most I'd ever charged for something, like I said, was $97 for a journaling course. So hearing these numbers of like thousands of dollars online was still kind of alien to me. And so I started off cheap, right? Like I started off, there was one guy called Seth, really cool dude. And I said, look, mate, I'll charge you $150. I'll give you 9 thumbnails per video that you can test, you can play around with, as many feedback rounds as you like. I'd love to work with you. Like, I don't recommend doing this because it was really exhausting. It was way too much work for the amount of money I was getting paid. But all of a sudden, Seth started to get results. Like, there was one video that got 100,000 views, one that got 90,000 views, and I was like, oh, this actually kind of works, right? Like, my clients were starting to get results. So at this point, I had another kind of mental unlock, if you like another level up. So at the end of August, I was like, let me stop just doing thumbnails and let me help other people, other creators with their entire YouTube strategy, right? Like I've already proven to myself that I can get views, that I can get email signups, and I was doing it for other people too. So now I was like, well, let's just take it one step further. Let's help with thumbnails, outline research, scripting, editing, basically everything that needed to take place to help them get more views and make more money. But I knew that this service was worth a lot more than $150, especially because I was finally in one of these profitable niches, right, of helping other people make more money. Now, when it came to pricing this, I had no idea, right? Because my only real jobs before this paid me like £7 an hour as a deli assistant, £10 an hour on a building site, and honestly, probably what works out at about 50p an hour working at children's summer camps. If you know, you know. So I decided, I kind of plucked the figure out of thin air of $2,000 a month for everything. And how was I going to justify this? Well, I made sure that when I signed those first few clients, I did everything I could to keep them. I put them on a bloody pedestal. So I was staying up until midnight making thumbnails. I was answering WhatsApp messages from my clients in Australia, like first thing in the morning, and then responding to my American clients last thing at night. I was basically reinvesting everything I made into courses, coaching, software that would hopefully make me even better at what I was doing and even more replaceable to these clients. Because I knew that the easier part was signing them, but the really hard part was going to be keeping them over time and making them happy. So I just kept doing this. I did it for a few months, and then sort of before I knew it, when I went to check my finances and my spreadsheet from this month, I was counting up all the money I made, and I looked and I thought, I made over $26,000 since starting this towards the end of August. Like, that was insane, because this was double what I'd earned in the past 2 years of posting on YouTube and trying to do what I thought was going to make me rich: build the audience, build a course, sell the course, right? Like that's what Ali Abdaal had told me. No, that's not what he said at all. Because at this point, I remembered 2 years ago, Ali said, if you post a video to YouTube every single week for 2 years, your life will change. I can't tell you how it will change, but it will change. And bloody hell, Ali, you were completely right, mate. Like, my life didn't change in the way I expected. I'm not making $100,000 a month from ad revenue and sponsorships like you, but I've developed skills that I never expected. And it's those skills that are going to continue to make me even more money. And hopefully, right, I've already reached that goal of 10K a month, but hopefully get even further ahead. And that's what I've only just realized from all of that time and all of that effort on YouTube, is that it takes 2 years. It just takes time. You don't know how your life's going to change. But if you stick with something for a couple of years and don't see that many results in the early stages, all of a sudden, boom, something happens and it takes off. And it's crazy. So genuinely, if for some reason, Ali, you're watching this, thank you so much. You've genuinely changed my life. However, what am I doing next, right? Because there might be some of you watching that are thinking, oh, well, you built this channel to like 30,000 subscribers, whatever. You've got an email list of like 5,500 people. It's pretty cool. What are you going to do with the channel? Well, so I'm still going to post videos because I genuinely love sharing my thoughts online. Like, I think it's so cool that I can sit here at like 9:30 on a Friday night in London and chat with the bloody camera and I don't know who's watching at the end of this, maybe somebody in bloody Idaho or Washington or New Zealand or something. I just think that's so cool. And not enough people post online. I think that's awesome that you can connect with people through social media. And I'm still going to do that. But I am kind of quitting. Sort of. Like, obviously, I'm not going to be posting journaling content anymore because I've sort of moved on from that. Like, I still use journaling most days to clear my head and to get on top of things, but I think now I don't want to post about it anymore. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I want to share what I'm learning as I'm growing this business. And I think that's going to be something more useful to me 2 years ago than journaling content would be, for example. I also think it's cool, right? I want to show you the behind the scenes of what it's like to work with creators with hundreds of thousands, even like millions of followers, because it's really cool. Like, you won't believe the kind of cool stuff that's going on behind the scenes of these businesses and how they operate. And I also want to show you how I'm helping them make more money, because it's interesting, right? I think people don't know what goes on behind the curtain. It's still such a new industry, right? You kind of know what a doctor does, you know what a lawyer does, but a YouTuber with 500,000 subscribers, like, that's weird. That's interesting. So I want to share more of that. But to be honest, like, I've struggled a lot with making this decision. And if you look at my channel, you see that the uploads have been kind of sporadic, because I've known deep down in my heart that I kind of wanted to start this new chapter for a long time, just because I know I built this channel of people that care about journaling, and I don't know how many people are watching that really care about my journey or just wanted to follow me to follow me for journaling help. But I figure even if it's just like a couple people that I can hopefully inspire, that'd be pretty cool. I also just don't feel I just don't feel that ready. Like, I'm not Charlie Morgan, I'm not Ali Abdal, I'm not Iman Gadzi, I'm not Daya. I'm not one of these like huge creators with massive businesses. And there's that imposter syndrome voice in my head saying like, oh, who are you to start talking about business? Who are you to start talking about making money online? You're nobody. So I had to get over that, which is bloody hard. But I kind of just figured maybe you never feel ready, right? Maybe I've just got to do what I did 2 years ago and just start posting content even before I feel ready. I think that's important. And I'm just, to be honest, I'm going to kind of embrace the fact I'm a 22-year-old kid who doesn't really know that much and who's still learning. You know, I'm not going to sit here and claim to be some kind of money-making expert, but I think it's fair to say I'm a lot further ahead than where I was 2 years ago. As you might be able to tell, this video is a little bit like more off the cuff than usual. So I appreciate you sticking around to this point, but the point is, and why I want to post more about my journey in business, is that I think it's going to serve two purposes. So first, hopefully it might attract 1 or 2 potential clients who want to work with me. I mean, they'll see my vibe, they'll know that like I exist on the internet, and hopefully I'm like come across as a somewhat normal person online. Who bloody knows? And the second reason is, like, to be completely transparent, eventually I would absolutely love to teach other people how to make money doing what I'm doing, right? Like, to be honest, working with creators, helping them with YouTube strategy, helping them with their businesses has completely changed my life. Not in the fact that like I can buy a fancy car or whatever. Like, one day, yeah, that'd be nice, but more so in the fact I can just walk into a coffee shop for lunch and not have to worry about the bill. Like, if I wanted to every single day, I could just go get a coffee and a sandwich and work from a cafe. The fact that like, if I want to pay the £20 extra to sit in first class on my train journey home to see my family, I can do that without worrying. The fact that like Christmas is coming up and I know I can just buy nice gifts for my friends and family, that's what really matters. And I think that to help other people do that, you know, would be pretty cool too. But in order to do that, I'm going to have to unlist a lot, basically most of my journaling content, right? Because I'm going in this complete direction. I mean, look at it like this, right? If you went into an Indian restaurant and then you sat down and you saw the menu, you opened the menu, and the only thing on the menu was fish and chips. Even if you ate the fish and chips, right, and it was the best food you've ever had, you'd still be really confused because your expectations of the food, of the restaurant, aren't matched with what you actually ate. And that's the exact same as it is with my channel, right? If somebody discovers me through one of my new videos where I'm talking about my business, and then they like check out the rest of my channel and see a load of videos on journaling, their expectations aren't going to be matched. They're going to be pretty confused. They're probably not going to stick around and support me in the future. So for that reason, I've got to unlist like most of my journaling videos, which is a bit sad because I put a lot of effort into them. But I know that I'm going to put a lot of effort into the videos that I've got coming up anyway. And I'll probably leave like some of the best performing videos there anyway, just because it's, to be honest, like selfishly, it's good proof that I know what I'm talking about. Just to be upfront. But anyway, what's the big takeaway from this video? If you stuck around to this point, which I appreciate you. But is that, I think, look, if you want to have a YouTube channel, if you want to start posting on social media and treat it a bit like a hobby or a passion project, that's really bloody cool. I think more people should do that. I think it's a great creative outlet, and just keep doing what you're doing. Ignore this video. But if you're anything like me, right, and you started social media with this goal of making more money, please don't just blindly post content and hope to go viral and then think that someday you'll figure out how to get rich. Because as my story has shown you, even with like 2 million views, 30,000 subscribers, 6,000 people on his email list, like I was probably making like way less money than you would expect, but also working a lot more than you would think too. So instead, I'd encourage you, if you want to make money online, think about the skills that you want to build, what expertise you want to develop, and like, what do you want to become known for? And then you can use content creation as your vehicle to build these skills. And it's these skills, like Ali said, that will eventually change your life, whether that's making money, increasing your confidence and public speaking skills, or you know what, like even just taking a bet on yourself and saying, let's just try something. I don't know if it's going to work like with the YouTube channel, but let's just try it. Because that's what 99% of people in the world are unwilling to do. Do something for 2 years, see limited or no success, and then eventually achieve something. And or maybe not. Now, I appreciate this was a bit of a bloody rambly video, right? Like this is probably not what you're used to seeing from me. But if you have supported me in the journaling channel and in journaling videos, leaving a comment, you know, even buying my course, like over the last 2 years, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart, because genuinely, I mean this, like I would not be here today working with the creators that I am, making this kind of money, living in London, doing what I love without your support and without those comments and likes and people just vibing with what I talked about. So genuinely, thank you so bloody much. Now, if you do want to follow along with this new part of my journey, I'd love to see you around on the channel going forward. But you might also want to check out my email list. So you can sign up to that by clicking the description below. I'll leave a link. And basically on there, I just send an email every time something interesting happens in my life. And I think you might enjoy that and want to check that out. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video where I'll be sharing something completely different. I'll see you all there.